It's Part of Truth with Menkopotse JJ Tabani. We are live here at Hyde Park studio number 1 here in Johannesburg. We thought because we didn't have a show yesterday and we're going to not have a show tomorrow, we should pay some respect and tribute to the youth of 1976. You'd remember, as you saw in those raunching scenes over there, that they were being tortured and butchered by the apartheid regime because they didn't want Afrikaans to be a medium of their instruction. But this comes in the context of Bantu education, where Verwoerd had said with all the courage in the world that there's no need for black children to learn mathematics because what on earth are they going to do with it? This is the kind of temerity of the apartheid regime that occasioned that kind of rebellion from the youth of 1976. And I can tell you now that with some of the people who came out of that generation, or who came even after that generation, they have put Verwoerd to shame. Tonight, I host one of those people who have done so, who is now the CEO of one of the biggest utilities in our country, and if one dare say, one of the most important utilities. A black young man who hails out of the Northwest and scales right now the corridors of Eskom. Dan Marokkan is my guest here tonight. And indeed, it is, without saying too many slogans, that alone is a tribute to what those youth of 1976 fought for. And as this curtain comes down, oh, by the way, I want to talk to you about Izimpimpi, people who are sellouts. By the way, some of what has happened there was because some of the sellouts, actually, when you tell the police that, hey, these people are marching tomorrow, and the police mobilized and killed some of them. And we'll talk about that just a little later. But because the curtain is coming down on the 6th administration, I thought I would pay tribute to a few young people who have really been bright sparks of this administration. I know that we shout here about incompetence and, just a lot of disappointing things that some of these people do. But I want to pay tribute specifically to a few of the ministers and some of the deputy ministers in this administration. And one hopes that they will actually be promoted tomorrow when the president decides on who his cabinet is going to be. Buti Manamela, the guy has been dedicated. He's been a deputy. I think he's specialized. He could give a workshop on how to be a deputy minister. He's been a minister for so long that one wonders, but why is he not being made a minister? God help us that they don't return Blake Nzimande to that job. So Buti Manamela, one of the bright sparks of the 6th administration, as the curtain comes down on it tonight. Kumbutso Ntshavheni, young, bright, and holding a very, very important position of minister in the presidency. Also been Minister of Communications, articulate, but also quite energetic, and I believe very, very competent. So Kumbutso Ntshavheni, minister in the presidency, one of the bright sparks of this administration. Now, of course, there's Minister Kubai. I know that you will forgive her for painting her nails during the Nkandla inquiry. I think that's history. Just look at what she's doing now with a human settlement portfolio. I think that she's one of the bright sparks. I think also with the tradition of the Youth League and what have you. And then you've got a Pakistau. What? Sometimes the way we make decisions in a movement just baffles me. Why would you waste somebody with such talent as Pakistau and make them a deputy minister of some innocuous portfolio? That guy should be the economics minister, one of the top ministers. He should be a minister of trade and industry or something serious, man. This guy ran the biggest city here in the continent successfully, getting A ratings and you name it. Then you take him and make him a deputy minister. Somebody's not even in cabinet, So those are some of the bright sparks. And one hopes that along with people like Pinky Kekana, of course also a deputy minister in the presidency and others, they could, just take the best, just learn to deploy the best amongst us, and not just take those who are bad apples. And one is happy to see the back of bad apples like Tulas Ngesi, bad apples like Clayton Zimande, bad apples like Gweda Mantal. Terrible. They should just retire But of course, with the kind of things that we do, it's very difficult for people to retire because they know nothing else. Please forgive them. These are people who have never retained their CVs in a long time. If you say they must retire, you're going to frustrate them. They won't know what to do. But, you know, last week's rant seems to have rubbed people the wrong way. But I'm sure you know by now that I wouldn't give a damn. The government of national unity is a farce. And it's important that those of us whose job is to tell the truth must tell it now and tell it even more persistently when people are trying to gag us from telling it. Just yesterday, I mean, you know, what do you say, a sellout? This whole deal is a sellout deal. And I know that for comrades like Mbalula and so on, when you say sellout, you hate them. But you have sold out, comrade. You've sold the country to the bourgeois. If I may put it bluntly. Let me tell you why. Yesterday, I mean, this is unbelievable. You know, South Africa, as my colleague Dan Koda would say, it's a movie, man. Yesterday, Zille says in a straight face, no. We won't impeach Ramaphosa, wait. Even if they brought the Pala thing back, we won't impeach. This is the same Zille who, in October of 2023, when the Constitutional Court threw the Pala matter of Ramaphosa out of court, said, this is the reason why this matter must be brought back to Parliament so that there can be accountability. So DA has joined the ANC in being a sellout, selling out to its own constituency, who they promised to say, we are going to make sure that this government can account. No. We are not interested. We cannot impeach a president that we have just elected. On a platter of silver, like Judas selling Jesus, the DA has sold you out if you thought they were going to be different. There are birds of a feather who, because of ministerial posts, they are now going to sell you out of accountability, regardless of the criminal nature of whatever it is that can be placed squarely in front of the president or any of his ministers. They have made a deal and sold you out, South Africa. That for in exchange of a few pieces of silver, they will not hold this government accountable. That's why you must ask yourself, who is going to hold this so-called GNU accountable? His people are sellouts. The same sellouts who sold out the students of 76 and got police to shoot them. This time they are selling out 40 million people who are going to bed hungry. They are selling out the 68% of youth who are unemployed. They are selling out this economy that is growing at 0% for a few pieces of silver. South Africa, mark my words, we are headed for uncharted waters. If you are naive, you can clap your hands and say it's unity, it's everybody. Actually, it's not a government of national unity because it didn't include everyone. It's a grand coalition of the birds of a same feather who are destined to continue the status quo of this country that are seeing the black child suffering. But in the midst of all of that, we always have to see a silver lining. That's why tonight I'm hosting Dan Marokani, who is the chief executive of ESCOM. Has gotten out of load shedding for weeks. I want to ask him how he did that. Was it an election ploy? Of course, they've already denied that many times. But, you know, our job is always to ask the question.